Hello there. So I wanted to mention that a lot of the times what I'll do is I'll end up doodling in class, and sometimes they're really elaborate usually. Most of the time it's not like it's like a particular thing, like I'll draw a pencil. But usually what I'll end up doing is I'll end up having like something like in the middle and then like other things like sprouting off from that, or I'll do something else. And I wanted to do one today, just doodle on camera, just so I can kind of explain my thought process through it, in a sense. So yeah, but I want to mention when I am home, I go in a certain place to draw because, well, let's see here, we have lighting, check, not too bright, not too dark. And the place I have it, it's right next to the colors. So like, for example, if I need a ruler, I got the rulers right over here. Or if I want a particular color that I don't already have inside of the place where I mainly get my drawing materials, which is inside of this Pokemon case. You currently cannot see, but it's right in here. And you may think, well, Sarah, why do you need so many colors? And that is because there's actually a vast array of them that I don't normally use, but there's just the stuff on the top that I do use. But sometimes, occasionally, I will use these ink pens. But if I'm going to be doodling, most of the time what I will end up using is these kinds of pens, which are Bic pens. They're Bic marking pens, and the kind that I have, the two in my hands, which I actually have a lot more of. I have, I think, like 6 or 7 more. And these things are like a metallic-y color, and they're really pretty, in my opinion. In fact, I have an example of where I use about 3 of them to have different things. And I was at the front of my binder. A second, I gotta take something out of it. Okay, there we go. And I want to show you 2 of them that I did. They're like my favorite ones, and that is this. This one is my first one. It has the has this pen over here. Might be kind of hard to see. And that pen's actually one of my favorite pens to use. There's also my name on it and another person's name on it that I kind of have to remove, and I want to make a second one. And then this one is actually my favorite one because it took me like 2 class periods to make, and so yeah. But it's just using like 3 of these ones. Has these 2 and then another one which is like a metallic color. But yeah, so I want, a lot of times people ask me, like, how do you make those things? Like, is it like a certain, like, do you get like an inspiration from something, or is it, I don't know, just like something else? And I'm like, well, honestly, I don't know. Because sometimes I'll get inspiration from the randomest thing. Like, for example, the little Reddit guy, I actually like looked it up on a photo because I'm like, hey, I wonder what his body looks like. And there was like just like this little pod thing, and I'm like, I got an idea. And I'm like, well, let's do it on camera. And so yeah, so that's what I'm doing. So I have this black one, which is like my only good black one. Like, I have like 10 different black markers, and you'd think one of them would be good. Actually, might need to slightly adjust because I'm not sure where I'm going to put the camera because I'm not holding it and trying to do this. So I'm going to put it right about there. You can like kind of see. Okay. Okay, there we go. And this is usually my setup. I'm usually just like this, chilling. I don't have my glasses on usually because I'm not looking for anything that far away. This thing I can see clearly. My markers are usually already out, but currently they're not. So I might actually pull them out. So yeah, usually I have them like right next to me, which is off camera. And I'll have this, and I'll have the piece of paper in the middle with the binder to use to have everything, like, I'm not using the rug, which wouldn't be exactly the best thing to be drawing on, so yeah. But if you don't know what the Reddit guy looks like, he basically has like this little like pod for a body, and that's where I usually get inspiration. I'll usually like look in the class and see like different like things. I might take off my glasses, and I might like look around, or you could even use your glasses. But yeah, so I want to start off with like, I guess a U shape would be the best for the guy's body. So there we go. That's, I guess, the best we're going to have to do. I'm not sure if you can exactly see it, but that's the start of it. And then of course there's the little arms on the side of it. And then it's like little legs. Okay, there we go. That's kind of, I guess, okay. It's pretty okay. Like I said, it's not the best thing, but it gets changed around a little bit when I go to the next step, which is picking out like 3 or 4 different colors. Which I usually will go with the metallic ones because they usually end up having the most ink in them. Okay. I want to use to find them this question. Okay, there we go. That one, and I want to get the metallic one to find it. Okay, where'd it go? Okay, there we go. There we go. So we have jade. I'm not sure what this one is. Pink topaz. I know this is amethyst and sapphire. Those are the 3 right here. And I don't necessarily have to draw like a picture that would be like distinguishable. So yeah. And I might also actually want to grab one more color, but the question is which one. And here's the thing. I will usually use these ones because these ones also have like, I don't know exactly how to describe it. Like they're better if you want to like color a big surface rather than a smaller surface. And so that's why I usually get a lot of these ones, because you know I have a paper I want to fill up with stuff. And then I would usually grab like a smaller tipped one, which actually, where is my Sharpie? Come here, Sharpie. Where are you? I really need you right now. Gonna get the Sharpie right now. Want Sharpie, please? Okay. Well, I guess we're not gonna get a Sharpie, so we'll have to. I guess I wanted to get a particular color, but this is okay. Okay, so I think, yeah, what I want to do is I want to start off with one of his arms. And what I want to do is I'm going to go for a galaxy look. Yeah, sure, we'll go with galaxy look. I'm not sure exactly what that's going to look like, but for that which actually I usually don't use pencil, because usually I'm just fine, because I already have something in my mind. But with this one, I might want to use pencil. Okay, so I want to mention, here's the thing. When I'm at home and I'm drawing something, a lot of the times what I'll do, and it seems kind of stupid or kind of weird or whatever, but I will talk to myself. And what I mean by that is I will talk to myself as if I didn't already know what happened in my day, or I didn't already know a certain part of myself. Because the whole entire reason why I doodle sometimes is because I'm like stressed out or I need to calm down. This is not one of those situations. Right now I'm actually quite calm. It's just that I want to be able to have my own little outlet, and so this is kind of how I do that. It's not like I'm expressing certain feelings, it's more of just that I'm figuring out a way to enjoy myself. And if you find that you get like calm after you've drawn a little bit, then you can go ahead and do that. But yeah, I want to mention with this galaxy thing, what I'm doing right now is I'm just like dotting on it just to have a little outline to show the two colors are separate from each other. And that's because usually what I won't do is I won't just do one block of color. What I'll usually do is I'll split up one like big thing into mini parts. I'll have those parts like colored in like very to where the colors complement each other, or sometimes even they'll clash with each other, but in a way to where it kind of all flows freely. Which I'm not sure where I had one where that was a great example of what I'm talking about right now. But yeah, and I'm going to use one of the situations where, for example, I'm going to use these two colors, the jade and the pink topaz, because they may seem like they might not exactly match, or maybe it's just me. who might seem like they won't exactly match, but I'm gonna make them work with each other. So yeah. And I wanted to mention one thing that I do sometimes is what I'll do is I'll end up to where I'm trying to calm myself down, and sometimes what that means is that, for example, when I was sick a while ago, this may sound really gross and kind of weird, but for me it's, I don't know, calming. There's weird things that I do that calm me down or that like help me focus that may seem really weird, probably because they are really weird. But yeah, it's also partially because sometimes certain things that I do, they get so like mind-numbingly boring that I'm like, okay, let me just spice this up. Let me try doing my homework while also being in a really weird position, like that kind of thing. Or I'll be like drawing and I'll be like, you know what? I'm gonna try to also like do like mental math. Like I'll do that kind of thing. And then it's like I'm still calming myself, but I'm also doing something else as well to kind of keep my mind like stimulated in a sense. But sometimes it's actually doing the exact opposite. It's giving my mind a little less to do. And that's where the weird thing comes in. Is sometimes what I'll do is I'll have the cap in my mouth, because I like to chew on things sometimes, and I don't do this in class just because it'd be really weird, and I like don't care, because the way it feels better to have that kind of thing, because the way my teeth are, there's actually one side of my teeth is it's in the right place, but on the other side it's not quite in the right place. It's a little bit like the teeth, the way they're supposed to be is they're supposed to be like this. They're supposed to be in like a U shape. But the way my teeth are, one side of the U is like out a little bit. And on the side that's supposed to be like kind of straight, it kind of goes like in towards the front, because my two front teeth are kind of jetted out a little bit. And so because of that, if I have like when I'm running, I won't like try to keep like my mouth shut. I'll usually have it like kind of hanging out a little bit, because it's just more comfortable. And I'll do the same thing when I'm drawing, and that's sometimes why I'll talk when I'm drawing, is because it feels a little more comfortable for my jaw. Or sometimes one of my favorite things to do is I'll start singing. Like I'll like turn on the radio or turn on something, and I'll like start like singing a song randomly, or I'll just be singing. And it's kind of it's very fun for me, and like I said, it's kind of relaxing. Or sometimes I'll do like the like most or like I'll like run around the house, and then I'll like go to sleep. And it's not because I'm trying to wake myself up or anything. It's partially just because I'm trying to like calm myself down, which it kind of seems counterintuitive, but it's like kind of the way I go to sleep, which is why if I like read a book and then like try to go to sleep, it takes me way longer than if I had just taken a hike and I then had to go to sleep. And so yeah. And a lot of the times, that's why I'll end up thinking a lot of the time. Like I'll end up like thinking like how I can improve. And I'm not saying you have to do this. In fact, I'm just going on a kind of boring tangent of how sometimes when I'm drawing and I'll talk about my day, I'll think about the certain things that I could have done better in that day. And yeah, and it's most of the time it's very. It's not like I'm like teaching. It's not like I'm like, Sarah, you should have done better today. It's more like I'm like, yeah, no, you're right. That person's a jerk. Or yeah, no, you were pretty much in the right. I mean, you could have done like one thing right, but I'm not like scolding myself. That'd just be a tad bit weird. And yeah, which actually you may be like, this is supposed to be a drawing video. Aren't we supposed to, like, see what you're drawing? And yes, I'm aware of that. I'm actually about to show you. I just need to finish this one part. And then I will show you. That's all I need to do. So there we go. I need to get around that thing, and I just need to color in this one little section, and I'll just do the rest with purple on the other side. But yeah, and sometimes I'll say, well, just draw whatever you want, and they're like, well, I don't know what to draw about, and I'm like, I don't know what to draw, and I'm like, well, draw a pencil, and they're like, just the pencil? No, elaborate on the pencil. You can draw an eraser as well. I don't know. It's your mind. It's your drawing, not mine. And that's for some people. They think I have to draw one particular thing. And for me, I'm like, well, no. Because here's the thing. I'm not sure if this is exactly true. But this one YouTube video was explaining that people who have ADHD, they think a little differently. And they're like a little more creative. And that's why sometimes when I think, okay, I'm going to draw a pencil, then I'm like, well, no, maybe I want to draw like a teacher or something like that. Yeah, that's so far we're done. Like I said, it's kind of like making colors forcibly look good with each other. And yeah. And so, for people who are like, okay, well, I want to draw, and I can't think of anything, try to think like this. What's something that you've done, like, you've gone on a hike and you saw something that was really pretty. But then think, okay, well, if I had a file in my mind that was all the pretty things I've seen, what would they look like? And then you would draw them out. And then it kind of like webs off to where you start off with drawing that beautiful flower you saw on the hike, and then you start drawing a picture online of the solar system, or that kind of thing. And that's kind of how my mind works. And so because of that, it makes it very easy for me to very quickly come up with ideas of what to draw, because 1 second I could be like, I don't have a single clue what I want to draw. But then, because like sometimes I feel like, man, I really want to draw, but I have no clue what to draw, and I'm like, and then my mind's like, well, what if you draw this? What if you just draw a pen? And I'm like, no, I think I want to have flares coming out of the pen. Okay, well, now that I have the flares, I want to outline them with a color. And then that color is going to be outlined with some dots, and then so on and so on and so on until the whole entire paper is filled. And all that happens like in a millisecond in my mind. And then I have a full-fledged picture of what that's going to look like. And that's usually when it's like perfect looking, and then I make it like a little more realistic, like the lines aren't quite perfect or the dots aren't quite in the center. And then I'm not like, dang it, it's not perfect. It's not exactly what I wanted. And then I know I'm satisfied with what I drew. And that's usually what happens in my mind. And I might finish this. And if I do finish this, what I'm going to do is, actually, before I do finish this video and I press the end button, I want to mention, here's why that whole entire having something in your, I want to mention one thing. If you have a particular thing in your mind that you want to do, and you're like, okay, I want to do it this exact way, and it has to look exactly like this. I'm not trying to discourage you, but you're not quite doing it right. Because if you want it to be an exact way, then that's not exactly what I'm doing, because what I'm doing is I'm saying, okay, I'm going to draw something kind of like what I'm imagining in my mind. It's just that I can have certain colors be a little different, or I could have it to where it's a little bit more messy. Because what I'm doing is I'm not trying to make a Picasso over here. I'm trying to calm myself down. Because if somebody's like, okay, we're going to all meditate to calm myself down, that's going to do the exact opposite to me. I'm going to be like, I can't quite do that. What I can do is I can talk, though. I can definitely talk. Because here's the thing, when I meditate, I'm basically holding in all that energy, but when I'm, for example, playing soccer, or I'm doing some other like extracurricular thing besides running, if you dare make me run, I will murder you. Literally. I will literally murder you. If I'm doing something where I have an end goal, or I'm drawing, or I have something that's keeping my mind at work, then I'm happy. Then I am good. So yeah. Bye.